So today I want to talk about what I think is really one of the most critical pieces for all of us as business owners to be aware of when it comes to being able to pay the lowest amount of money legally allowed to the government. And that's tax planning, and that's actually having a game plan in place. I know you see this a lot with the clients you talk to, both those who have planned and those who haven't. Why is planning so important?
Planning is probably one of the most crucial things you can do to a tax return. So if you come see me in February, for example, say, hey, Joel, what can I do for last year to help reduce my taxes? I'm going to tell you, there's not a lot. We're all cash-based taxpayers. The year closed out. There's not a lot I can do to go backwards. All of our planning needs to be done in the year of the tax return, right? So I like to think of it also, I like to make this little comparison of a basketball game. So when you go into a basketball game, before the game even starts, you have a game plan.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to do on offense. This is what we're going to do on defense. This is how we're going to attack the other team. Or we'll say in this instance, the IRS, right? This is how we're going to attack them, and this is what we're going to do. So you go out there and you play your first quarter. What happens at the end of the first quarter? You start making little adjustments. How did the first quarter go? What did we see happen? How are we playing? How are they playing? I'm going to make some adjustments based on what I'm seeing in that first quarter. Then you play the second quarter. What happens at halftime? Again, more adjustments. I'm going to adjust how we're playing. What are we doing? What am I seeing? And what can I put into place to help benefit our team? Do the same thing in the third quarter, same thing in the fourth quarter. But what happens when that buzzer ends at the end of the year?
Right?
Game over. All my adjustments are done. Now I need to live with whatever the results are. Right? So that's why tax planning is so crucial. And I'm going to give you a real kind of world example. So I have a lot of construction clients in the construction game. Okay. And so I will sit down with them throughout the year, talking about their business, where they are revenue wise, where they are expense wise, what kind of expenses do they see upcoming? Do you have any large purchases you need to make? Right. So we'll go along this. We'll meet every quarter and review the last quarter and see if there are any adjustments that we need to make, much like a basketball game, right? And in this particular case, he said, man, my truck is just getting old. I'm driving this thing 30,000 miles a year. Construction site, all day long. It is specific to my work. It is only for work, and I drive it every single day. And I said, okay, do you want to do something? I mean, those new Ford F-150s are looking nice,
ask,
right? So we went through it, and we went through the pros and cons of it. And he said, you know what? I think it's time that I do it. I'm going to go buy a new truck. So we talked about the truck. He said, should I lease it? Should I buy it? Obviously, he needed to buy it because there's some things I can do with trucks as far as depreciation go to help reduce some of his income. So we bought it. And he said, how are you going to treat it on your taxes? I said, I don't know. I'm going to see how the game plays out. And then I'm going to see what I want to do with that truck to give you the best tax benefit, not just this year, but next year and the year after that, depending on what you foresee coming down the pipeline. So that's exactly what happened. We finished out the year, comes back in. I do his tax return. I don't even do anything with his truck. Everything else is in there. And then I grab the truck and say, okay, if we do this, this is what happens. If we do this, this is what happens. So all that tax planning about putting that truck into place happened in the prior year. But when it came time for me to actually comply and do his tax return, that's when we put that truck into use. And that's where he saw the biggest benefit that actually put dollars back in his pocket.
And one of the tough things I think you deal with oftentimes, is that your plan isn't just 1 year out.
No. So we looked at that, right? So going back to this truck example, how much of that truck do we want to use this year? What's going to happen next year? Do we want to actually safeguard some of that expense and push it into the next year? Right? So you have to look at all those things. It's more than just maximizing my expenses this year. It's what is it going to affect moving forward. You got to have a better forward look than just that.
So you convinced me I need to plan.
You need to plan.
So I need a plan. So I sit down with you. I work with you. I'm a business owner. What do I need to be doing? What's some of the advice? What's some of the direction? What are some of the things you want me to be aware of as I try to implement an actual plan?
So I would say the very first thing I would do is set up appointments for the year. Like you should come into my office. Hey, I want these appointments on these days. I'm going to set them up, and I'm going to set them out throughout the year.
Because we all know if we don't,
because if you don't, you may not do it. You may forget. Life is busy. Right. And so if you forget, you don't come in, and then the year passes, and then you come and see me just to do your tax return. It's like, what can I do for you? right? So I would say set up those appointments early, get in there, and then let's start reviewing each quarter to how the quarter is going so we can make adjustments within the quarter, moving forward throughout the rest of the year.
So you hit a couple of the things, but just to reiterate them, what are the things you're going to be looking for from me at the end of each quarter?
So I'm going to be looking for a profit and loss statement, for example. I'm going to look at an asset listing. Most people don't keep a balance sheet, but I'm going to want to know how much cash you have inside your business. I want to know what your expenses are from a personal standpoint. How much money are you spending? How much money do you need? How does that affect your business and what you're doing? Are you just pilfering all the cash and then you have to borrow money to pay for your business, and then you have interest and different things that we have to deal with. So I want to, at a minimum, I need your profit and loss statement and basically your asset listing and how much cash you have.
It's so interesting to me. Not that we enjoy these either, but it's almost like getting a physical multiple times a year to check your health to see where you're at.
That's a great analogy because you're checking the health of your business is what you're doing.
And I find it so sad or disheartening that sometimes as business owners, we can get so caught up in chasing the business that we don't stop to make sure that the business is healthy and where it needs to be. And that in the end ends up costing us. I think at the end of the day, it comes back to, the old idea that a penny saved is a penny earned,
right?
That an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, that as we put that time in now, it's going to pay off dividends down the road. We know it's important for you to keep your business running smoothly. Here at TaxHive, we stand ready to help with all of your tax and business needs so that you can focus in on what it is that you do best, and that's running your business. We have an entire team of experts who stand ready to help you out. Schedule a strategy session with one of our specialists today.